US Vice President Al Gore has won the Nobel Peace Prize for his campaign against global warming. The Nobel Committee said climate change could threaten the world's living conditions and increase the risk of wars.
It truly is a planetary emergency, and we have to respond quickly.
We'll be hearing from our correspondent in the Arctic, where the ice is melting faster than scientists have predicted. Also tonight, after the High Court rules next week's postal strikes are illegal, hopes tonight the dispute may be coming to an end. The first official suspect in the Madeleine McCann case breaks his silence for the first time.
You know, it's been 5 months. My savings are gone. Mum's doing what she can, and it's just very, very difficult.
And the memorial to the thousands of British soldiers killed on duty since the Second World War.
In BBC London News, the former nightclub doorman accused of murdering 2 students in southwest London. And water everywhere, but no guarantee today's chaos in Maida Vale won't happen again.
Good evening. The movement to tackle global warming today received the support of the Nobel Prize Committee when it was announced that the winner of this year's Peace Prize is Al Gore, the man who was once nearly US president and who has since campaigned about the threat of climate change and the urgent need to combat it. His film, An Inconvenient Truth, won him an Oscar, though this week a judge here ruled it contained some inaccuracies. Al Gore shares today's prize with the UN panel on climate change. The Nobel Committee said global warming could trigger mass migrations and lead to wars. Here's our environment analyst, Roger Harabin.
If you look at the 10 hottest years ever measured, they've all occurred in the last 14 years.
Big Al, vice president turned green crusader, pouring his life into his film, his book, and his live presentations, delivered to almost 2,000 audiences in more than 30 countries. The message that we need to cut CO2 emissions now. It won over the Nobel Committee.
He is probably the single individual who has done most to create greater worldwide understanding of the measures that need to be adopted.
Tonight, a delighted Gore, wife at his side, didn't miss another chance to sell the message.
It is the most dangerous challenge we've ever faced, but it is also the greatest opportunity that we have ever had to make changes that we should be making for other reasons anyway.
In India, they were celebrating the Nobel Prize too, shared with Gore by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the world's scientific authority. It supplied evidence of a warming world. In the old days, peace prizes went for peace deals. In 1993, Mandela and de Klerk in South Africa. In 1998, Hume and Trimble in Northern Ireland. Then a switch. In 2004, the Kenyan tree planting campaigner Wangari Maathai won the prize. Today, the Nobel Committee suggested that climate change bears directly on world peace. That's a view supported by most scientists. In Darfur, for instance, drought has made an existing conflict worse, leading to a savage struggle over water. In other places, more flooding, already common in Bangladesh, is projected to displace millions of people. That's another recipe for strife. And as crops fail, more food shortages are predicted, again raising the prospect of conflict over scarce resources. Al Gore's even tuned pop to global warming. Live Earth put climate centre stage. But this week a judge said Gore's climate messages were simplistic, and for the dwindling group of climate sceptics, today's Nobel Award is a mistake.
It seems to me that this is actually being given to someone who's promoting a fashionable, high-profile cause, and really it should be going to someone who is actively working for world peace or resolve conflicts in the here and now.
Thank you.
But Gore the politician won't be swayed by criticism like that. He's a man on a mission. Some think he wants another chance to be president, or at least a high-profile political post to turn his green ideas into policy. Roger Harabin, BBC News.
Speaking earlier this evening, Al Gore talked about how rising temperatures are affecting the polar ice caps. Our science correspondent David Shukman is travelling through the Northwest Passage, for centuries impassable because it was frozen solid, but now, as climate change melts the ice, navigable by ships for the first time.
I'm travelling through the Victoria Strait, a key section of the Northwest Passage. As you can see, completely clear of ice, even as winter approaches. Now, for the scientists on board who are studying the warming Arctic, the news of the Nobel Peace Prize is very welcome. They see it as recognition of all the efforts they're making in these difficult conditions. But there is one note of caution, that the prize is shared by Al Gore, a campaigner, with the UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, a body trying to establish the most rigorous understanding of global warming. As one scientist told me, the risk is the public might misunderstand what campaigners are saying with what the scientists are actually finding out.
David Shukman there, travelling in the Arctic Ocean, and he'll be reporting from there on the 10 o'clock news next week.
He was going to make a small movie that's going to play